A republic, if you can keep it. You know, when Benjamin Franklin dropped that line at the end of the Constitutional Convention, he wasn't just stating a fact. He was throwing down a challenge. It's this incredibly stark reminder that self-government isn't some automated machine you just leave running in the background while you go about your day. The stakes are massive, and honestly, the whole thing falls apart if we don't actively participate in keeping it going.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that is literally the lifeblood of a functioning society, active citizenship. A lot of us kind of default to thinking of citizenship as just a static legal status, right? Like a passport sitting in a drawer somewhere or a right you get at birth. But today, we're totally reframing that. We're going to look at citizenship as a dynamic, living practice. It's a verb, it's an action, and a continuous responsibility.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with beyond the passport, then get into the philosophical tug of war, explore the spectrum of engagement, look at going digital, check out global perspectives on citizenship, and wrap up with what is your role? Let's jump in.
First up, Section 1, Beyond the Passport, Redefining Citizenship.
Okay, look at the stark contrast on the screen here. On one side, we've got passive citizenship. That's your baseline, paying your taxes, obeying the law, keeping your head down. It's necessary, sure, but it's minimal. Now, contrast that with the other side, active citizenship. This is about stepping out of that isolated compliance and stepping into genuine empowerment. It means actually taking personal responsibility to drive real change in your community. It's realizing that the success or failure of the system is on our collective shoulders. It's choosing to be a change maker, not just a resident.
Moving to Section 2, the philosophical tug of war, rights versus obligations. What's really fascinating about this breakdown is how it takes centuries of intense political debate and splits it into three distinct lenses. First up is the liberal tradition. This one is super focused on the autonomous individual. It's all about protecting your personal rights and liberties from state interference. But then, look at civic republicanism in the middle. This framework totally shifts gears. It argues that a republic literally cannot survive unless its citizens actively cultivate civic virtue. It's less about being left alone and way more about rolling up your sleeves to participate in self-governance. And finally, communitarianism. This view doesn't see you as an isolated unit at all. It sees you as a socially embedded person, meaning your identity is defined by shared community purposes. So it's this massive historical tug-of-war, right? Balancing personal autonomy, civic virtue, and serving the common good.
Next is Section 3, the spectrum of engagement, from voting to activism.
Let's look at how we can actually climb this ladder of engagement. At the minimal level, you've got institutional engagement. You know, showing up to vote, paying attention to policies, catching up on the news. Absolutely vital, for sure, but it's just the first rung. Step up to the active tier, and you start seeing social participation, volunteering your time, offering your professional skills to local nonprofits, or maybe leading a community project. And then, at the very top, we hit maximal engagement. This is where citizens tackle the really complex stuff head-on through peaceful protesting, public advocacy, and challenging systemic injustices to hold institutions accountable. The real takeaway here, true empowerment comes when we elevate our involvement step by step.
And here is a brilliant, real-world example of that active tier in motion. Meet Nicole Klein from Missouri. When a massive local road project threatened her neighborhood and local businesses, Nicole didn't just sit back and complain. She got to work. She moderated a structured, constructive town hall forum, literally bringing over 100 community members face-to-face with state officials. I mean, this is exactly what it looks like to bridge the gap between everyday citizens and the government. She built a space for civil discourse and made absolutely sure her community's voices were heard and valued.
Which brings us to Section 4, Going Digital, the new frontier of governance.
It's no secret that technology is completely rewiring our relationship with the state. Take a look at Estonia's digital ecosystem. By leveraging things like e-residency and blockchain technology, they've actually turned their citizens into active collaborators. Instead of just passively waiting around for information, citizens can monitor public reporting, track how policies are rolled out, and even oversee resource allocation using open data platforms. It's a total game changer. It locks in data integrity, builds a massive amount of public trust, and ensures the government stays directly accountable to the people it serves. Moving on to Section 5, Global Perspectives on Citizenship Beyond the West.
Contrasting these cultural philosophies gives us such a fascinating shift in perspective. In Western individualism, the approach is very me-focused, placing a huge premium on personal autonomy, legal rights, and protecting yourself from the collective. But flip over to Eastern collectivism and you see a priority on social harmony and group goals. And going even deeper is the African philosophy of Ubuntu. Often translated as I am because we are, Ubuntu teaches that our very humanity is literally defined by our interconnectedness. It's this incredibly powerful, we-focused mindset where active citizenship is all about mutual aid, restorative justice, and an absolute commitment to communal well-being.
To really ground this we-focused idea, let's talk about Diki Senda, a teacher and writer in Indonesia. When he returned to his hometown of Malo, he realized the younger generation was completely losing touch with their local traditions. So, using an active citizens framework, he sparked a movement to revive indigenous, orally transmitted knowledge. By plugging the youth back into their shared cultural wealth, he empowered the whole village to tackle deep-rooted local issues in the economy and education. It's a perfect example of community-driven problem-solving. Now, if we want to expand the idea of civic duty even further, look at this profound evolution coming out of the Global South. Back in 2008, Ecuador did something amazing. They baked environmental stewardship right into their definition of citizenship. Their constitution officially recognizes the rights of nature, or Pachamama. Nature isn't just seen as property to be managed anymore, it's legally recognized as a subject with an inherent right to exist, flourish, and regenerate. This creates a whole new level of ecological citizenship where our shared obligations stretch beyond human borders to the actual planet we inhabit.
And finally, Section 6, what is your role? Moving from conversation to action. Okay, let's review some really tangible steps. Civic engagement literally starts right on your block. Do your neighbors even know your name? Knowing your community is the absolute bedrock. From there, step it up. Join a voter registration drive, become an election judge, or hit up local public meetings. And remember, making your voice heard directly is incredibly powerful. You can craft carefully considered letters to your Congress members and local representatives about the issues that matter. Taking just one of these actions doesn't just make your community more resilient, the research consistently shows it gives a massive boost to your own personal health, well-being, and sense of purpose.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative thought, because ultimately, you have a choice in how you interact with the world around you. The tools to engage are more accessible right now than they have ever been, and the stakes honestly couldn't be higher. So when you log off today, ask yourself, are you going to be a passive resident, just kind of watching the world go by? Or are you going to take that personal responsibility, step up, and actually become an active change maker in your community? The survival of the Republic, as Franklin said, depends entirely on your answer.